Hello, my name's Chris Liu. Have you ever wanted to know more about the soldiers and militia that were in the American Revolution back during the 1700s? Well, we have our own field reporter to fill you in. Thanks, Chris. I have here someone that has lived through that time, and he's agreed to answer some of our questions. Tell us, sir, when you arrived at Valley Forge, where did your soldiers sleep?
Well, when we first arrived, we built log cabins. We used about 80 logs that were chopped down with one axe. We built over 1,100 of these cabins, and the wood was brought from miles away. They were little cabins that fit about 4 to 5 people, and they kept us warm from the snow.
I'm sure the battles were very grueling. What were some of the things you ate to keep up your energy?
We had very small food portions. Sometimes we were given meat from hunting, but most of the time it was just baked bread. Many soldiers ate a lot of what was called fire cake, which was simply just flour and water mixed.
I'm sure the nights were very cold. How'd you stay warm? What type of clothes did you wear?
To stay warm, we built fires and just mainly stayed inside the cabins. A lot of the soldiers had very minimal clothing and really torn, and most of them didn't even have shoes. We used cloth and just tied it around our feet.
I'm sure the casualties of war weren't the only downfall. Did your soldiers get sick? Any diseases?
Soldiers got very cold. Because of the cabins and the snow, the cabins would get really wet from the melting snow, and a lot of our clothes were really damp. So some diseases were typhoid, jaundice, dysentery, and pneumonia. We lost about 2,000 soldiers from sickness.
Wow, must have been tough. Well, thank you for fighting through the revolution for us. Ever thought men were the only people to have fought in the Revolutionary? Think again. Women had disguised themselves and fought along in the Revolutionary against their fellow man. I have here such a woman who has fought in the war and has agreed to share with us some of her experiences. Tell us, how did you get involved in the war?
I felt it was my right as a member of society to fight for my country, even though I am a woman.
I see. I'm sure a question many of our viewers have is, how did you keep the fact that you're a woman a secret from your fellow soldiers?
I took the name Robert Shirtliff. I dress as a man and act like my fellow soldiers I serve with in the 4th Massachusetts Regiment. War isn't pretty, and I don't have to be to fight.
Wow, that's very interesting. Have you ever been injured while fighting?
I have been wounded once, but even with my injury, I have been able to maintain my secret.
Wow, must have been very hard. Do you have any second thoughts or regrets about joining the war and fighting?
No. I burst the tyranny bonds which held my sex in awe, and clandestinely, or by stealth, grasp an opportunity which custom and the world seem to deny as a natural privilege.
Wow, that sure opened my eyes to some facts. Well, thank you for answering some of our questions. Ever wanted to know about spies? Well, we sure do. We have here someone who went undercover back during the Revolution. Tell us, why were you chosen to become a spy?
Not exactly sure why I was chosen to be a spy. I was called in by Harry Lighthorse Lee, father of the great Confederate. But when they told me that the order came down from General George Washington himself, I couldn't say no.
I'm sure being a spy was very tough. Tell me, how'd you get the British to trust you?
Well, actually, it was by accident. Unfortunately, as I was entering the woods on my horse, Captain Carnes and his scouts saw me entering the woods. They followed me and pursued me. As we were getting closer to the Hudson, my own Green Rebels started firing at me.
Tell us, if you can, what was your mission?
My mission was to kidnap the traitor Benedict Arnold.
Did you succeed?
Unfortunately, the plan did not succeed. After watching Arnold for several weeks, I noticed that every evening about midnight, he'd go out into the garden. At first I thought he went out for a walk, but as